Hey everybody, Brad Linder back at you again for your friendly neighborhood daily card of sketch. Today I'm going to be doing Kitty Pryde with a little bit of Lockheed peeking over her shoulder. So we'll be able to knock this out and have a little hangout time. Excuse me while I'm grabbing a little drink there. I am a little under the weather today. Been moving stuff around and got a, excuse me here, look at my pencil. A little bit of a sinus infection today because of the fact that I was moving stuff around and, got rid of some storage and moved some furniture, and then it got really hot and cold here and rained last night. So, dealing with that, but still here to get this done for you. Almost done here. Sorry about that. I did not load it before. My bad. So, finally, gonna get this started. But yeah, we're getting the studio ready. Moving some stuff around and getting some things in place for doing some cool stuff, and going to bring a lot of cool content and whatnot to you, and some more sketch cards, of course. But yeah, it's been a fun weekend. Since we talked yesterday, I did a bunch of furniture moves, did a nice new assembly on my new studio workup for my my art table and all that. The lighting may have changed a little bit of lamp setup. Really excited about it, really cool. But enough about that though. Anyway, so now you'll know why if you hear, unfortunately if you hear that I got the sniffles or sound a little funny, that's why. With everything going on, this character is one I've been actually waiting for to get to do because she's one of my favorites. One of the iconic female characters from the X-Men, and everybody loves this chick, man. Just insanely cool. I've made her very youthful here and very bright-eyed. So Disney should actually be very pleased with it. Not that this card's going there. It's just a very cool rendition. Nice soft smile. So, let's see here. Cool. We're going to go ahead and cut her eyes in early. Do me a favor and let me know that you guys can hear me, because I rewired everything when I moved it all around, and I want to make sure that you can hear me okay. Okay. So we've got Kitty Pryde here, and she's always stayed a youth. I mean, even when they bumped her up in, what was it, Excalibur for a while, she didn't grow up for a long time. They kept her a kid. It's kind of like Peter Parker being rebooted for Spider-Man over and over and over. They didn't want her to grow up, which is actually a disappointment because so many of the other characters did. But if you think about the legacy of Marvel and comics in general, these things happen on a week-to-week basis where we get them months down the line in an actual comic story. Those events are supposed to happen back-to-back, and, it just may be a decade or two for us, but these characters are supposed to be living their lives in, days and weeks. It's like watching the Fox TV series 24 when it was on. That whole series was based in a season was just a day. It was 24 episodes, and it was just a day. So you got to think about relevance in these comic book stories when you think about that. But it's touch and go for me. I like them to evolve and move up and whatnot. I don't like them to stay the same age forever. I mean, I grew up with the X-Men just as much as anybody else, and one of my big pet peeves about that book is the fact that the characters didn't age. I mean, they've been around a good 20, 25 years before I came along into relevant fandom. I was a teen before they got married, and I was just like Scott Summers and Jean Grey, and I was just mind blown that it took that long. And not that I'm going on a rant or anything, it's just conversation, of course. But, yep, gotta pay attention for that. And if you're writing comics or creating comics, be sure that you make that relevant point, Don't make your character stay a teenager for 40 years. It's weird. So, now a lot of people like to make Kitty's hair curly. I don't. I like it straight, like she naturally has it in most cases. Not necessarily flat, because she's more of a mousy character than people give her credit for. She's very reclusive, but even more so than Rogue, which the modern version of Rogue's not reclusive at all. She's rather flamboyant, actually. But yeah, this character's very reserved. So, moving in on the table just a little bit. Not used to it being over here on this side of the office. So, pretty cool. I was wishing they would give her more of a character presence on the movie series, but that didn't work out quite as well as they wanted it to in the franchise. She did get a little bit more time in Future Past, but not like Wolverine or Hugh Jackman did. The funny thing about that movie is they put Hugh Jackman's Wolverine character, they put him in the past. And in Days of Future Past, the original storyline, it was Kitty that came back. So, she actually went into the future herself. She didn't go into the past, she went into the future. And it was a great storyline. That's the first time we see Old Man Logan that would become the comic character that we know now. And I'm getting beeped at here. Okay. Sorry about that. I just had to make sure nothing was going on. Making sure you guys could hear me okay. And see everything. Facebook has been a little wonky today. Not sure what that's about, but it is what it is. Possibly more updates. Which I'm really digging on that public folder option they've got going on now. Pretty cool, actually. I like it. I haven't posted anything for public yet, but I was going to start posting some artwork for you guys. I've noticed a lot of my friends have. A lot of them. One of my very favorite inkers. Haven't had the pleasure to work with the man yet, but follow him very closely. Mr. Norm Ratman. He's just crushing it as always. It has been since his Image days. And I've noticed he's been posting a lot of those folders too. If you guys have been seeing those features, check them out. Not that I'm plugging anybody or anything. I was just first one to come to mind that I really got to see some cool stuff from. And these are the worst earrings ever. No, seriously, it's Lockheed's foot. I love this little guy. He is phenomenal and a great character within his own right. If you've never read him, check him out on. He's got his own miniseries, I think, from the 90s, early 2000s, and then he's got just decades of appearances in the again, the aforementioned Excalibur. Which, heads up for, by the way, tomorrow I'm going to be doing Captain Britain. I'm not going down the entire cast line. I just put those back to back when I made the list, and that's who's next. So we've got that going on. Hey, look, it's a nose. And with Lockheed, if you draw this guy, pay attention to this right here. He's got this little funky lip edge that sticks out right here across the bottom, at the right at the peak of his lip. And then when he turns, he's got the underbite thing going on where it extends out. So if you ever draw him, make sure you get those right, because they're characteristics that are unique to him. And if you don't, he will look funny and his fans will bite at you. Don't do that. Stick with the character design. And if you want to know how to draw dragons and things, think about them in relevance to the counterpart we know most commonly, which is dinosaurs, of course. You can get those reptilian details going on really, really, really easy and not have to mess with it too much. Study modern lizards, too. I have 2 bearded dragons, and I absolutely love those little guys. And I draw them all the time. I'll have to see about posting some of that stuff. I sketch them all the time, doing all kinds of weird stuff, because it's almost as good as going to the zoo and seeing one of the big lizards do something really cool. I get to experience that at home. Those things are neat. And yes, I went all Opie there for a moment. Yes, I said neat. Not a lot of people say that anymore. But, yeah. Crunching on my throat drop, if you heard that pop. It's so I don't cough and clear my throat. Leave me alone! I'm trying to give you a better show, man. So, just knocking that out pretty good. Now this little nugget back here on top of his head, that's the thorn or burr on his wing. So just so you know what that is and where it's coming from. You'll see it when I refine it here in just a sec. See, that's the top of the other one right here. Boom. Going to edge that a little bit, make it look a little more organic. Because he's got these two bones right here, these segments that fold in and out, and it's just these two hard tendons or whatever you want to call them right there. I mean, I don't know the literal anatomy of what's under there. It's just, it looks like two little bone tips that go across this part of the wing and that part of the wing. So I'm guessing they're supposed to be like the little nubs on our leg bones kind of thing. So there he is. And not going too overkill with this on the shading, because one, I'm going to do her hair, and two, I don't believe that his wings are black. They are in fact purple like him. So I'm going to keep that open. I'll get my knuckles out of the way in just a second. Sorry, I got to get this card laid out without it being torn up. Because I tell you what, I am going to do something really cool with these very soon. I get asked if I'm going to sell them and all that all the time. But I have in fact decided to do something else very cool with them that's going to make a lot of people very happy. So you have to stay tuned for that one. I just got private message. he said, "Tell us now, or I'll kill you." I think Facebook might ban you, man. You better quit that. You know who you are. He happens to be the guy that did that is a buddy of mine, and he happens to be a huge Jeff Dunham fan, and he was going with the Ahmed thing there. Wow. Just one of those days, man. But, yeah, let's see. Hey, that's coming along all right. I'm going to work on this hair a little bit. Right down here. Because I want to shade some of this, even though it is brown, and she's going to keep it really open. I just want to give it a little undershading there to make it pop off, because of the fact that it is, like I said, she's a little more mousy, so it's a little thicker hair, and it's going to have a little more depth to it. And ta-da, as my daughter would say. She's forever doing stuff like that. She comes into the office and, you know, hey daddy this and hey daddy that, and shows me what she's done. Ta-da. And I'm going to put one right here. Now this being a turn right here, this hook, it's one of those weird ribbons that I've talked about before. It's one of those weird things. You got to be very careful with that, because you'll get shading right here, but it's a fine line in most cases at best, because there's a lot more height and a lot more height to that side and a lot more color to that side. So be sure that you leave that open if you do it, and that way it'll stand off and it won't go flat and get mixed in, because you don't want to suppress it. And if you do that, it will suppress it very, very badly. It will make it go into the weave here, especially if you bond it together. It'll look like you left out spots or cut across or something weird. Now on this top piece, what I'm going to do is this is where I'm going to make the color work. I'm going to do the same thing I did in that ribbon because there's a lot more light. I'm going to go right down here and cut in like this just to show it's going the same direction. And it is in fact that piece of hair. And then I'm going to come here at the top and I'm going to shade this bottom next piece. Just like that. Just to make it pop off just a little bit. So see, now you got the two segments of hair. But what you want to do is make that corner lift up a little bit. And right back here, you want to put some shading right back there to make it at the crown. The crown of the curve here, not the crown of the back of the head. Just to be specific. So, you know, I don't want people messaging me, hey man, you were talking about the crown when you were on her forehead, what's up? But, no, that's another expression for the hair there. Okay? I get asked about that all the time. How do you draw hair? How do you not? But, kidding, kidding, kidding. No, I love getting asked questions about it because it gives me the opportunity to, you know, better my own game, to think about it and share the process. So, but I want this hair to look really segmented because that's the way it lays on her head. And I want it to pop off to give you guys that look of her hair. I'm going to shade in that lip a little bit. There we go. That got it. It was looking a little squashed there for a second to me, so I wanted to make sure it popped up. But yeah, I'm gonna get the underside of that. And see this curve right here? You see how I put that crest on it like that? That gives it the life and the essence you want for it to make it look like it's alive. Okay, it makes it look like it's got a curve and an edge to it, right? A little bit of stacked volume. And unfortunately, people will overwork that, and it'll go weird on them real quick. I've done it. I know I have. That's why I'm saving you guys the grief. Don't do it. Don't do it. Save yourself. Okay. Moving right along. And following that flow, see that piece right there? It goes way down here. And that's the section of hair, right? We want that to stay open and clear and concise. Don't clutter it up. Now, let's isolate that ribbon of hair. And I want to do something cool here by cropping that off so it looks like it twists around and then it twists around again. Okay? I'm going to underline this edge right here because there's a shadow right there where her eye is. And that allows me to be able to go in and make that happen. Now these are different segments, they're not exact, so make sure you make these crowns and crests different so that you don't make it look wonky, because then it'll look helmet-like, like it's a wig or fake. And we don't want that. We want it to be contrasting within itself so it looks like hair, right? And by that I mean don't make these identical, because a lot of people go in and make them identical, and it just makes them look like a wig. It's almost like a bad weave going into, you know, a costumed actress's hair. It's just thump 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 thump, and it makes it look like cornrows or faux rows instead of making it look like an actual hairdo. And that's, you know, that's a bad thing. You can definitely tell when that happens. And it happens more often than you think it does. So be aware of it. Don't draw that. Now you'll be checking out people's hair, doing reference and checking out people's hair, and you'll see that going on. You'll be like, that's a bad hairdo. Please don't call them out on it. And if you do, I don't want the bad mail. Yeah, please don't do that to me. So, I'm going to shadow this out real quick, because this is the shouldered version of Kitty's suit, which is black here and yellow on the outside, across the chest, and then it goes back to black. I'm going to shade this out because of the fact this is a tribute to Nightcrawler's original uniform at the X-Men, if you know what that suit looks like. And you'll recognize it here in a moment whenever I get this going. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line it like this so I don't clash it with that hair. Let's make that section in and see how it looks. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. I just don't want that to clash with her hair. Because I'm going to color it in black. And like I said, do the traditional penciler no-no and go ahead and color that all in. A lot of people do. I don't, because I don't like to erase these things. But on these sketch cards, it's a whole different ball game. So I just do whatever feels right at the moment for completing the piece. Okay. I'm going to grab the 9 over here, 0.9, and shade this in really quick to save us some time here. Getting all that done, nice and neat. Getting that curve there. So, you guys be sure and ask me your questions and stuff, man. Y'all are being super quiet today. If you got anything you want to know or ask me about, go ahead. I'm going to firm this up. Get Lockheed's other toe there. Firm up some of these edges so we can see him a little better. There we go. Cool deal. Now this is her shoulder right here. And there's her arm. I'm going to fork that. And I'll leave that little trim right there. And because he's sitting on her shoulder, we're going to shadow this right out. Right up to the bottom of his toes. Going to catch the edge right there of her arm and black that out. And now, there we go. Put in her eyebrows here. And we are not going to mess with that anymore right there. Pull it down so you guys can see it just a little bit. There you go. You have Kitty Pryde and Lockheed. So that's it for today, folks. I am going to flesh out his toenails just a little bit. His claws here. And these little spikes on his wings. But other than that, though, I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to call it a day right there. Pencils down. We're done. Like I said, tomorrow we have Captain Britain coming up from Excalibur. And I haven't decided which version I'm going to do yet. As you guys know, I do these cards right before I have them come out. and I announce them that I'm going to draw in a few minutes and whatnot, and I post. So keep an eye out for it. I'll try to do it a little bit earlier so you guys can have some more time to get prepared for when I come on. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.